Well, good morning, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio. This is Patricia and David, and Patricia has her coffee cup sitting here still untouched. I forgot about it. We have another pleasant morning, and I know a lot of people are thinking about leaving today, which is good. It'll be a pleasant day to leave. There is no rain down here at Gulf Harbour, and hopefully it won't be up there in the Marsden and Opua areas. We have 17 degrees. It's been sitting on 17 for a while. A couple of knots from the southwest, so it will be a motor out from most places if you've got the same. The barometer is rising, 1007.8. Actually, it's a bit high. I think it's 1008 and a bit at the moment. This was about an hour ago, and we have about 80% cloud cover. It's just sort of fairly low strata Q type stuff. So yeah, a very pleasant morning, and we hope it is with you. And I saw that there were quite a few boats that have left yesterday. How did I know that? Well, you can find that out too. If you go to the YIT site, that's www.yit.nz, and you click on Tools, in the drop down right at the bottom, you will see Pacific AIS. So anyone with an AIS, and it's frightening actually when you look at the Pacific around our area, just how many boats are out there. It always astounds me that you can't see much, but when you look on the AIS, there it is. So a really useful bit of information on YIT to find out where the boats are that left yesterday, and there were quite a few. Alrighty, and now let's get on to today. I have yet to work out, and I've got a bit closer on the streaming. If you do want streaming for those boats that have got interference or are too close or whatever, you can go on to our new website, www.ghradio.co.nz, and click on the streaming, and it will take you to YouTube. So you can hear us, and if you are subscribed to YouTube, you can also make comments, questions, just general hellos or whatever, so that we know you are there. And then I can respond on air usually, or you'll hear it on the streaming as well. At the moment, I still have a glitch in that I cannot see the streaming comments. So I'm going to be meeting with the website man this morning after we finish here and try and get on top of why I am not being able to get to that very easily. I managed it yesterday by trial and error, hitting things, but still haven't managed to do that today. The trouble is he works with Mac and I have got Android. I use Chrome, so it's just a little bit different on my screen, so we'll have to get together. Anyway, that's all right. We will follow the same newish format on this frequency for the first 15 minutes. There's not too much action from the boats registered on YIT at the moment, although that will change after today. But first of all, I'm going to make a call for anybody who is out there and needs to make contact, and then we'll have a little bit of news. So good morning, buongiorno, bonjour everybody, and we hope that you are, if you are leaving today or tomorrow, that you are being organised. Is there any boat wanting to make contact? Please call Gulf Harbour Radio. I think that's Bright Angel. I've just turned the volume up. We've got a bit of a whistle on the frequency this morning, Bob, but go ahead, Bright Angel. Okay, I missed the swell. What is it now? I was interested in the swell to see whether there'd be any complaints from the crew. What's the swell? Yeah, I'm having a real trouble this morning with this whistling sound. I'm not sure whether it's at other ends, but there's definitely quite a strong whistling sound. I'm just going to repeat this for David, Bright Angel, and I'll abbreviate it a bit. 27 degrees, so he's looking at you on his screen there. South and 162.5 west, 162.5 west, and they're steering pretty much the same as yesterday, 080 true. 5.5 knots. Unfortunately, that wind has moderated, northeast 1-4 at the moment. Yeah, I missed your early comments, this trying to tune out this noise that we've got on frequency. I'll just pass the microphone to David while we've got you, Bob.
Hey, good morning, Bob. I've got you on my screen here. I'm looking at the French modeling system for your area. Pretty much agrees with what your conditions are. We still have that weather front that's to your west. Your winds will probably start to slowly go back to the north and then to the northwest, northwest, that type of thing for a while. Just before the front, they should go northwest. Behind the front, we're looking, depending upon your latitude, anywhere from west-northwest to northwest, and they'll be in the 20 knot range behind the frontal band. You're under the effects now of still that high that's pretty much sitting over 2C2, so you're getting winds conflicting with the winds from the low pressure system that is to your south-southwest. So that's the story for you. The back end of the front, probably by Saturday, should be near 2.5 and 160, 2.5 and 160. And then the winds will shift pretty rapidly once that front passes. On Sunday, the winds possibly could go to the southeast, and that'll be favorable for sure. But unfortunately, Monday still looks like we're getting that shift to easterlies as a high to your south more or less flattens out on its northern half. It's like somebody just put their hand on the top of the isobars and pushed them down. So you'll probably see that on your grid. And that unfortunately then is going to give you those easterly winds, which for you will be more or less headwinds. So that's the situation as we see it. This front is preceded, by the way, by a convergence zone. And like I had said yesterday, this is a fairly broad area of convective activity. So once you go through that convergence zone, the winds will shift a little bit and you'll think you're through the system, but the cold front actually is behind it. I would say about 2 degrees, maybe 100 nautical miles behind it, and then it will come into play. When the wind goes solidly northwest or west-northwest, you'll know you've gotten through the axis of that frontal band. But anyhow, that's the story. Over.
Okay, thank you, David, about all that. Earlier in my morning was that I would like to have her email me the format for a gift report.
Roger that, got it that time. You've already come up well, Bob, and I will do that today, but I think other people will probably want it as well, so I will cover that format for the YIT report. If you are still at home, folks, as we mentioned yesterday, do try and get that organised before you go. You will be sending an email, and the email address is send, and this is if you want to put a position report on YIT, send@yit.co.nz. So that's the email address. In the subject line, you put your yacht name, the one you registered with. So if you started with a capital letter, make sure it's a capital letter. In the body of the email, you will have a square bracket with the word password. And what people do is just set this up as a template, so you don't have to do this every time, a blank template. So you have the word password in a square bracket, and then beside that you put your password outside of the square bracket. Then square bracket, position, end the square bracket. So you put the word position in square brackets, and then you put your position. You do not use degrees, you just put, for example, 27 space 07.2 S if you're in the southern hemisphere, and a space, and then 162, for example, space 27.5 W. So that's the format for the position. And then the all important, as far as we're concerned, weather in square brackets. Put the word weather, and you can put whatever you like after that. Just put in what you're experiencing as accurate as possible with the air around you and the sea around you. And then it's useful for those that are looking at the site to see your speed and heading. So again, if you would put that bracket, speed, close bracket, 5, 6, whatever it happens to be, and heading also in square brackets, and put T or M beside it. For example, square bracket, put the word heading, close the bracket, always use square brackets, and put, in this case, 080T, and then a square bracket status, and there you can go to whatever length you like about what you want to put in. All right, so that's what that is. I will put yours in today, Bob, so don't worry about that today, and I will send you confirmation of all of that. But that was mostly for the people that are listening to make sure everything can go in well. All right, well, clear with Bright Angel, and as promised, I will quickly go through some news of the day for those people that are out there in the world. Now, I tell you what, it's good you are retired, because if you were working in China, they now have a way of making sure you keep your mind on the job. They have a device that they put into caps or helmets, whatever it is you're wearing on your head, and it reads brain messages. It determines whether your mind is wandering. It determines whether you are angry or depressed or whatever that might be. And in some cases, they have got a device that actually can see what you wrote on WeChat. That's their main messaging system. And even if you have deleted it. So I tell you what, it wouldn't have suited you when you were at school, would you? Because you keep your mind dreaming about boats.
I used to draw boats.
Draw boats. Well, there you have it. That would be a good way of keeping people on the job. But more depressing news for us here in New Zealand, our new Labour government has, well, they need to get in lots of money because they're spending lots of money, so they are now devising what they are calling an Amazon tax. It used to be that anything less than $400 imported into the country did not get GST, that's our VAT tax of 15% on it. But now they are going to tax absolutely everything, all stuff from Amazon, Kindle downloads, you name it, it's all going to be taxed, and they reckon this will bring in another 70 million.
They're going to try.
They're going to try to do this, but it actually starts in Australia this July, so that will be an interesting experiment to see whether they can do that. So absolutely everything. You've got until next year before our one comes in to import what you like under $400 without anything on it. So, and NIWA came out this morning. They're going to issue their forecast. It's never been right yet, but so far they're saying that our winter is going to be warm and wet. So maybe we won't need that 3 cubic meters of firewood after all. But that's what the predictions are from NIWA.
which is, as you said, never been
You
correct.
have been correct. And if you're visiting Auckland, you'll be able to take your pet on public transport. Well, this was a very eclectic news broadcast from me. So I guess it's going to be a little bit difficult if you've got a German Shepherd or a Great Dane, because you have to put the pet in a carrying device. But if you can carry your pet, then you are going to be able to jump on an Auckland Transport bus if it's working and they're not on strike. And the last news item, because I see we're now half past the hour and we need to get on to the weather. Mr. Netanyahu from Israel went on prime time television to try and convince the US to pull out of the Iran deal. He reckons he has about a gazillion bytes of secret information about an Iranian nuclear project, so he's going to try and convince Mr. Trump. Probably won't take too much convincing about that particular project. Okay, well, it's half past the hour, give or take, and that's the time that we go to the weather. And if there's anybody else wanting to make contact, I will pick you up after David's finished. But we do know that there are people leaving today, so we need to get on to the weather.
Great Eagle.
Go ahead, Bob.
Roger, when you send me the format, would you also, if you can look it up my password, I've got it down. So if you send me my password as well, that'd be helpful.
Okay, but you started off being able to put in reports, so you started off pretty well. That rough seas must have affected the brain. We'll have to get one of these Chinese helmets for you, Bob. Over.
Roger, well, it was all on a computer that went in yesterday. That was a full face waterfall with seawater. That's why. That's what my data is, and I don't have it anymore.
All right, well, sort that one out today. I'll talk to Mike. Cheers, and here's David.
I want to get one of those Chinese hats. I think Amazon may sell it soon, but then it's going to get taxed, right? Okay, good morning, everybody, and we are going to look at the synoptic picture for very early this morning. It's a very active one. Now, the complex low that we've had, remember, a complex low is one that has multiple centers. The main mass of it, if you will, is moving off the country, trailing a series of troughs behind it, which is still affecting New Zealand and areas further north. Now, our high that we talked about yesterday has moved into the Tasman. The central pressure is 1024, and it's located near 35 and 157 east, or just to the east of Sydney. Now, there's a frontal band that's lying over Tonga, extends to Fiji. A secondary trough is present as well. In fact, that trough is pretty much over Minerva Reef, and that extends just to the west of Viti Levu. Now, the high that we talked about is extending a ridge over New Caledonia and also Vanuatu. Now, for our two yachts near French Polynesia, there is an active depression that lies near 37 and 143 west, 37, 143 west. Now, by Thursday, this low should be near 37 and 140 west, while another low lies near 30 and 170 west. So we do have some activity out there. Now, our high center moves toward the south island near 40 and 165, with the central pressure increasing probably 1027, 1028 millibar. Now, by Friday, the high should sit right over New Zealand. We're hoping that. Central pressure in the neighborhood 1029, 1030. So that means trade winds are going to cover most of the Southwest Pacific. Southerlies near Tonga, south-southeasterlies near Fiji, southeasterlies near Vanuatu, and east-southeast for New Caledonia. Winds between New Zealand and 25 south should be east-southeast to southeast. Now, by Sunday morning, our high is going to have shifted a little bit east, and it will be near 40 and 167 west, moving pretty good. And it slows down. But when it moves to that position, the central pressure is looking like 1028, 1030, while a depression lies below New Zealand, and that's going to extend to front, which passes through the Wellington area and then goes on to Hervey Bay in Australia, and that's about 25 south. So it's a fairly active front. Winds from 25 south to the islands are still looking pretty good. East to southeast winds 15 to 20 knots. Now, for those that are leaving today and are still on streaming, that want to hear my projection of winds, I'm going to give you the updated winds for the passage north. And 1 second here. Now, before I get to that, just briefly, just to the north of New Zealand, to the northeast of New Zealand, we talked about the complex low system. Well, there is a very tiny low that's sitting to the northeast of Opua, and it is going to be providing southerlies about 20 knots in the mean for the Opua and northward area. The winds are slowly going to back to the southeast as dinner time approaches today. So that's the situation. We have that little tiny low that's sitting up there, that bowl that's part of the complex low, and that's going to be moving off as well, along with the rest of the system. So, okay, now I will go to the winds. So looking at 3 days from now, and again, we've assumed that you're leaving today. The boats that left yesterday, obviously this isn't going to be accurate, but if you jotted down what I gave you yesterday, you can compare how the models have changed. And we'll start off at 30 south, and that is going to be for basically 5 May, which is Saturday. And we're looking, GFS, we're looking at basically southeast winds, southeast to east southeast, about 15 knots. The French modeling is looking at southeast 20, and EC is east southeast to southeast 20 knots. So they're fairly in agreement, I guess you would say. You would not expect them to be exactly the same, and they're not. If you're heading to Fiji, again, this is at 30 south on Saturday, east to east southeast 15. The French are looking at southeast 20, and the EC model is east southeast to southeast about 20 knots. So all of these winds are in a good direction if you are heading to Fiji. Going to Anisham, GFS easterlies 10 to 12. The French east-southeast 15 to 20, a little bit more wind. And EC has a little bit more wind, east-southeast 15 to 20. And if you're on your way to Noumea, I should probably drop Noumea because I don't believe anybody is heading in that direction. If you are, let us know. Okay, looking out at 4.5 days, and if you're leaving today, you should be around 25 south, where you'll encounter, according to GFS, easterlies about 10. The French modeling southeast 10 to 15, and EC southeast 15 to 20. So EC has got a little bit more wind than GFS, but regardless, those winds are all in a pretty good direction. If you're heading to Minerva, the easterlies, you'll be hard on the wind, but if it's southeast, it'll be perfect. If you're heading to Fiji, GFS still easterlies 10, the French southeast 15 to 20, and EC southeast about 20. So EC and the French pretty much in agreement. Again, a good direction. Going to Anisham, GFS east to east southeast about 10. The French easterlies 10 to 12, and EC easterlies 10 to 15. Pretty much in agreement there. And we'll go out to 7 days. That'll be 20 south. Those of you that were going to Minerva would be there, and your winds would be southeast about 20 knots, possibly east-southeast. So we'll call it 15 to 20. The modeling, if we average it all out, that's about what we'll have. If you're on your way to Fiji, at 20 south. GFS is following east-southeast 20. The French easterly is 15 to 20, and EC is 15 to 20 out of the east as well. And if you're going to Vanuatu and Isham, first stop, easterly is 20 with GFS, and the French and EC are in agreement at east to east-northeast, and they'll be around 15 knots. You might say 15 to 20. Now, all of these winds are mean winds. And again, we know about modeling and how we want to handle the wind speeds that we see. So in other words, gusts are going to be about 50% higher than what I just gave you. And the mean wind just simply means that there's a band of wind there. So give it 5 knots either way of the numbers that I gave you. And that's a pretty broad range, but these are models. So that's the story for those on Passage. Now, I probably will discontinue this because those that are on Passage will not be streaming at that point, and there's no point in boring the rest of you with what's going on there. I will cover in general what is happening on the Passage, but I won't get into the specifics unless somebody calls in. If you're a yacht on Passage and you want to know what things are going to do tonight or tomorrow and then maybe the next day, then I can give you that. So right now, I'll give you a quick look at the weather up in the islands. For those of you that are up there, you know what you've got. For those that are interested, Tonga, as I mentioned, we have a trough that's affecting the group. Their Met Service has issued a strong wind warning and a heavy rain warning for the entire group. And I would expect this is going to continue into Thursday as well. Over to Fiji, that's also affected by the trough. That trough is slowly moving northwards. So expect the usual wind and rain associated in troughing conditions. We'll have northwest winds in the northern half of Fiji, and they're going to be colliding with southwest winds in the southern half. This is classic convergence, and that's supporting the trough as well as the upper level support that we've got. Tomorrow, southwest wind should prevail for most of Fiji. Now, that's out in open water, and remember that orographics are going to play a big role when you are trying to determine what your winds are going to be with models. Not that easy. Vanuatu, in the very far north of Vanuatu, that's affected by the same trough as is affecting Fiji. However, the central and the southern group just shows scattered cloud on satellite imagery this morning. Winds expect south to south-southeast today in the 15 to 20 knot range. New Caledonia shows bands of cloud also moving south to north, and they are part of the flow that is coming off of the high pressure system that's in Tasman. The winds there are going to be southerly quadrant. They'll be around 15 knots in the open waters, and they'll be backing to the southeast on Thursday. So that pretty much concludes the weather, and I guess at this point we'll open it up, see if anybody has any questions, either on the radio, on streaming, or whatever. So I'll pass this to Patricia.
Well, we do actually have the streaming working. The only problem is I don't really know how I got it working, so I'll sort that out today. But we have certainly do have it working, so that's good. We have Steve and Judy on Code Blue have joined us, and we've got Claudia and Beth, of course. So yep, all good here. And is there anybody wanting anything from David? I think 2C. I don't actually think 2C2 checked in this morning. Let me just try them. 2C2, are you out there, Mike? Yeah, there you are. So, yeah, I haven't seen your report this morning, so tell us where you are and how's it going fuel-wise, over. Alrighty, I've got this problem with this dreadful noise that's come up this morning, so I know that you are motoring and it's 060 true and your ETA is still Thursday, but I missed the first part of it. I'm just going to put it to David. And by the way, a couple more boats will be heading your direction. Pizzazz and Surreal are going to leave early tomorrow morning, so they are all set to go from Auckland here. So that's a few more that are going to be heading out towards the beautiful French Polynesia. So hang on a minute, Mike, and I'll just, while David's still fossicking on the computer here, I'll just see if there's anybody else with a question. Anybody else wanting anything? Yeah, that noise seems to be up in the upper part of this frequency. It makes me feel guilty that I didn't try for a lower one over the summer. All right, I'm passing the microphone to David to look at the arrival tomorrow. In fact, boy, I'd love to be there on board, but here's David.
Well, you're still in the middle of the high. You're, in fact, dead center in the high pressure system that's there. Tomorrow, probably today as well, your winds are going to be variable. They're all over the place, mainly due to the fact that you are in the center, and the winds as they're rotating, just luck of the draw. It depends on exactly where you are. So anyhow, looks like a continued motor through the pass, and you'll have no issues whatsoever. Now, later on, meaning a number of days into next week, there is some weather that's heading your way. We'll try to keep you appraised of that. Saturday the 12th, as an example, there should be a frontal band that's going to pass over Riva Bay. The frontal band that's just about on top of Bright Angel right now, that's heading east, and that's the one that will eventually be affecting you as well. But you'll be snug in the anchorage there. Now, with this cold front, northwest winds will precede it, and southerlies after it passes. And this one's on the 12th. It looks like there's quite a bit of convective activity in that. So anyway, happy landfall tomorrow, and hopefully we'll hear you. You might be pretty busy coming in there and anchoring, but anyhow, good luck. And here's the boss.
All right, so that's some happy campers. You'll be there a while, given I think that Helen doesn't come for about 2.5 weeks. And we've got streaming working well now. Good morning to Nessa Troy. Marina and Diego are leaving today from Opua, so good sailing, fair winds. And wow, I was going to tell you folk that Swiftshore in Kwajalein. Now, we have been to Kwajalein, but we weren't allowed to move around, but obviously they can, and they are tied up at the dock in Kwajalein, which is a huge American base, and we are coming in loud and clear on 8752 up there in Kwajalein. So at least conditions are good for the longer distance at the moment, so that's fantastic news and quite exciting for us. We can visualize exactly where you are. We actually came to Kwajalein on a container ship. We were in Majuro for quite some time, and I was getting thoroughly bored. David was having a great time down at the little mix service there, launching balloons and just having a meteorological ball. But I wasn't all that keen on being in Kwajalein, so I organised us to go on a container ship that went around quite a few of the islands in the area. But when we arrived in Kwajalein, we were not allowed, even David with his he is still American, and he is an ex-US Army man, but he was not allowed, were we allowed just on the dock by the ship? But we weren't allowed to move 50 metres in either direction at that stage, but since then I think things have eased up somewhat. We were, of course, allowed to get off at Ebi, which is the most astounding place in the world. I think I've never seen so many children in all my life. Clearly there's not much else to do at Ebi. but Ebi is the sort of the little atoll beside it. Not atoll, it's the little, yeah, I suppose it is the little islet in the lagoon. All right, so there you have it. Okay, that's about it from us, and we will certainly be here tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Anybody that's ham radio operated can be on 14315 at in almost an hour's time. There's nobody out there marine at the moment, but I guess that's going to change fairly shortly. The useful thing about the marine net is that there are ham radio stations, relay stations on both sides of the Tasman, so it doesn't matter where you are, someone's going to be able to pick you up. Okay, thanks for that, Diego, as a reminder. Is there anybody else? Final call before we get going. Rouser, you are booming in here. I had to turn the volume down. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. And we're here I was coming in on the radio today. And for those who my report, the position was a westerly position. If you'd like, I'll get it now. Over.
A westerly position. Hang on, I'm just looking at where Rouser is. I can't find you on my updated thing, but go ahead. And the other person that's talking, just stand by one. I'll pick you up after I finish. Go ahead, Rouser. Okay, the other person that's talking, please stand by. Please stand by. I'm sorry, Rouser, I've got your 179er, I think, 59 west. Could you give me your latitude, course, and speed again? Sorry about that. Okay, so that was a different voice, and I'm trying to work out who that was, because I had two ladies' voices speaking, and I have the last one. Could you give me your boat name, please? Okay, well, that definitely was Rouser, and I got it wrong the first time round, and you are anchored at Rotuma. Thank you very much. And yeah, we've never been to Rotuma. Is it a decent anchorage over?
So far it's good. There's not the good feeling safe, and unfortunately, I know they did the day before. A little bit lonely, very, very beautiful weather.
Oh, okay. So nice, beautiful anchorage, and good morning to Shainu as well there. In Rotuma, I'll have to zero in once I put it into the system and get a feel for the local area. But not a very big anchorage, and a little bit rolly, but very beautiful. Thank you for that. Got you, and a good signal when it was by yourself. Now, the other person that was in behind Rouser, please call again. Okay, wind something. Go ahead. Whistler. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Whistler. Oh, well, for once in our lives, we've actually got better weather than you, because the cloud I reported earlier on has dissipated, and then we've got a lovely blue sunny sky and no wind here at the moment, Margie.
They have the trough.
They are. David just said, you have the trough. Well, happy troughing, over.
Yes, we're here with our sister boat, and we'll stay here probably for the day because we don't like to move around when we don't have good light. Over.
No, we didn't like moving around in Fiji without good light either, because some of the there's some strange things in the water that pop up when you don't expect them. All right, thank you for that. And well, I suppose it's warm, so you don't have to worry too much about that. So that was Whistler in Fiji. They were one of the early boats that went up and actually had a pretty good passage. So they are now enjoying listening probably to all you folk trying to make decisions. David wants something? No, he doesn't.
You speak up.
Speak up, he says to me. Okay, I will speak up. Thank you, Margie. Is there anybody else wanting to make contact? Please call. No, nothing heard. All right, folks, we have got to get going this morning because I'm going to race into the congested city. So we will be back again tomorrow, and we will probably learn that there are quite a few more boats wanting to leave as well. But at least we've got a couple going, and you'll make good use of the wind direction. Fair winds to those that are leaving today. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, and we will be back again tomorrow. Cheers all. Where is that damn noise coming from, I wonder?